How's it going, everybody? Ecom Tom here, back with another video for you guys, and I have a very interesting video for you all today. Today's video, we're going to be breaking down eBay dropshipping stores, the good ones, the bad ones, and everything in between. I have 4 stores picked out for you guys. I'm going to break down exactly what they're doing right and exactly what they're doing wrong. This is going to be able to help you pick and choose what you should be doing for your eBay dropshipping store and what you shouldn't be doing, exactly what you should be avoiding, and everything that you should be doubling down on. I hope first off that none of these stores are yours. I'm pretty sure nobody that is at least my student is a store that I chose, so if so, don't take it hard, and I'm trying to just do my best here. Before we get into it, please be sure to smash that like button. Let's get it out to as many people as possible. And I do have my new Instagram account down below. Check it out. I've been posting a 1-minute video or 2 every single day, so you'll get some extra content there. So let's get into it. I have 4 accounts for you guys already chosen, and I'll see you inside my computer. All right, so here we are inside my computer, and this is the first store that I want to break down. And we're looking at Zik Analytics right now, so it can break down how many active listings they have, how many of them have sold, how many out of those active listings have actually sold at least once. This is how many have sold, plus if they've sold more than one time, and then the amount of sales. So I think that that's really a good indication of if these stores are good or bad. If you haven't guessed already, we're going to start off with a bad store right off the bat. So imagine Z Shops. I'm sorry, but your store is not good. There's 9,735 active listings on this store, and they have only sold $6,262 in the last 30 days. That is literally less than $1 per every single item listed. I can guarantee you this person is most likely 100% not turning a profit on their store, and they're just hemorrhaging money at this point in time. So why do I think personally right off the bat that this store is not doing so well? I can almost guarantee that this store is flagged, and they haven't listened to anything that's been talked about over the last year and a half about not using automated API repricing tools or any other type of software like that, and not using Amazon Prime as a supplier for your eBay dropshipping store. So I was going through their listings, and first off, even if they were following everything right, they're not even optimizing their titles. They're just listing items up, and they're not optimizing. They're clearly just most likely shooting in items from Amazon onto eBay with some automated listing tool or something like this. So this one really stuck out to me because it literally has almost no title at all. And so I went and looked at it. They sold 4 of these items. It was actually listed only 14 days ago. So it's sold decently well in the last 14 days. But again, I can guarantee you this item's a rarity on this account. They do have a decent template, and I don't think that the description really matters that much, but they did at least put in some effort here on the description, make it look nice. I'm assuming it's probably some form of a template from one of those template related services, and so that looks nice. I'll give them credit on that. And there's little buttons here where you can do things, but they have no item specifics at all. And item specifics, eBay is clearly doubling down on item specifics. They've been talking about how important it is, how you should be keeping them on your listings, and how just the amount, and they literally show you how many searches each item specific, or the popular ones, while you're creating a listing, get in 30 days. So you can say like, oh well, this one's going to get possibly 10,000 extra impressions a month because I did this this one item specific. Again, their description is fine. I have nothing wrong with their description. I think that they have literally terrible item specifics, aka they've just been bulk uploading items. And again, I went and found this item. They're selling it for $750, free shipping. I found this item online. It's clearly an Amazon Prime item. I don't have Prime on this account because I'm in incognito mode right now. And it is a very popular item. It's an Amazon's choice item on Amazon. So it's clearly a good item to be selling if it still works. Clearly we've seen some people that are doing Amazon onto eBay with no API related software, and some of them are making it work, but again, there's just other inherent issues with Amazon. Items going in and out of stock all the time. Literally 3 days ago, they said because of the whole pandemic going on right now that you can't even send in items to Amazon FBA anymore. So if you have that are non-essential items, so if you have all of your items that you're dropshipping from Prime onto eBay, you don't even have items to sell anymore. So again, they're breaking pretty much every single rule that I've been talking about over the last year and a half. And it goes to show, everything would make sense that this item would be a good seller on eBay. But when you break the rules of listing with API-related software, bulk uploading thousands of items at once, they have 9,000 items. Not to mention you have to have an anchor store, or if you don't have an anchor store, you're getting screwed on insertion fees, which is, an anchor store is $350 a month if you pay monthly. So that alone is going to be $350. Your software to run and reprice this many items is most likely going to cost you multiple hundreds of dollars, whatever software it is. and you're not making any money. You're literally making barely any money. If I was to calculate the profit margin here, $7.50, and we'll times it by 0.88, which takes out roughly the eBay and PayPal fees, $6.06, and they're making, or 60 cents minus 430. They're making a decent profit margin. Like, it is a decent profit margin on this item. Don't get me wrong, but they're not selling any of their items really. So it's a 30% profit margin, good for them. But again, the percentage of items that have sold compared to the amount of active listings, they're most likely not making money on this store. So I wouldn't bother doing so. It just seems like way too much of a hassle in order to make, maybe even if this was 30%, all of it, let's just say, times 0.3. They're making $1,800 minus software. They're possibly making like $1,000 a month if everything was, or about $1,000 a month if everything was 30% margin, which I didn't go through and calculate. So again, to me, that's not worth it. It's not worth the headache, and I'm gonna move on. They got the worst rank on my bad store ranking. So here we are at number 2. They are from Israel. They have 602 active listings. Not a lot of listings. 27 of them are successful, but they only have 1,000 in sales. If you have 600 listings and you're only doing 1,000 in sales, you're doing something clearly very wrong. And again, this is another person that is in fact dropshipping from Amazon onto eBay. And again, they're a little bit better than the last person because if you look at their titles, they are, I don't even know what this word is. I'm assuming that that's a typo, or maybe that's the brand. But they are at least making good titles for their listings. It seems as if they're adding some keywords to them. That's probably why they have less than 9,000 listings like the other person who was just bulk uploading, not changing anything. I'm not saying all of them haven't been changed or have been changed, because this one clearly hasn't. They're doing stuff with the pictures, which I think is probably an automation in one of these softwares anyways, so it's probably not too hard to do so, but they are at least making themselves a little bit different. I'm assuming, if I was to guess, I don't know, I forget where this template is. I think it might be an AutoDS template, but they're most likely using the API version of some software out there. They might have 100% feedback. They might have decent shipping policies and handling policies and return policies, but they're not going to be making very many sales if they have an automated repricing tool connected to their account. So although they do have, statistically, or if we were to talk about proportionally better sales compared to the other person, because they had 9,000, which is probably about like almost 20 times more items than this person does. They are doing proportionally more sales because they've been at least optimizing some titles here. They're not following the rules, and if they're using automated repricing and listing tools, some of their listings are from back in 2019, maybe like 7 months ago. They should have more than 600 items up, but again, it just doesn't seem like they're really taking their store that seriously. But they are doing a little bit better. Again, they have a decent description, but they don't really have any item specifics. They have some, which I'm proud of that. They did do some of that, but that could just be an automated part of the software as well. I'm not too sure. Again, this is an example of a bad store. I would not try to snipe from them, and I would not try to follow in their footsteps. So with all the bad stores out of the way, let's get into a decent store, a pretty good store, and then let's get into a really good store after that. So this person's from Canada. So anybody that says, oh, I'm from another country, I can't drop ship profitably, you're lying to yourself. So they have, again, they have less listings than the last person, 556 active listings, 169 of them are successful. Again, it doesn't seem like this person is really trying to clear out their store too much, and I think this store would look better in the sell-through rate area if they did clear out some of their bad listings, because they have 556 active listings, only 169 of them are successful. I think they probably have a decent amount of listings here, maybe like 100 or 200 that just should be taken off their store that they haven't taken off yet. But again, I'm not really big on taking off items that haven't sold for some amount of time, some period of time, to improve your sell-through rate. I just think it would make this store look better in general. So they're doing about 29,000 in sales right now, which I think is pretty good for what they're doing. And again, I think they probably have about 200 or so listings they could take off. I say that if you have a really well optimized store, if you have 100 listings, those 100 listings should be making you about 10,000 in sales per month. So at that rate, this store should be up around the 50,000. They're in the 30,000 range. They do have a few things that I think they could improve on. First off, look at their titles. They're clearly doing very well with their titles here. They don't have really barely any brands actually in the title at all, which I teach. And they do have some, mainstays cap, but they are selling the very popular items, and some of these items, are selling a lot after having, this store's only been around since 2019. They haven't listed any items, I think, since 2020. So it goes to show that when you list good items, if, they have some right here. So they have a few that have sold since 2020, but not very many. So it goes to show that when you list actual good items here, they're going to be selling for a while. If they have good titles, good just, prices, good everything, they are going to be selling for a long time. And that's even more apparent in the next person that we're going to talk about after this person. So their titles are great. They're doing very well. Let's go and break one down. So one thing, this is right here. They're listing that sold 16 times in the last 30 days. One thing about it is they've put in some work here. They've clearly put in, king, queen, full size platform, bed, wood frame, tufted headboard, gray upholstery. Like that's a very keyword rich title. They all make sense for this item, and they're doing very well. They have basic pictures, and their pictures look pretty pixelated. That's one thing I think they should improve upon. I don't know if they screenshotted them or what they did, but they did do a decent, they're still doing a great job. So another thing is they have variations. I've noticed time and time again that variation listings just outperform regular listings a lot more. So if you're using SKU Grid and you're listing with SKU Fetch, you can easily list variation listings with SKU Fetch. Sure, it is a little bit more confusing, and I wouldn't really want to be doing it by hand, because when you do it by hand, it does take a lot more time. If you're doing this all by hand, I think singular listings are probably easier and more worth your time. But if you're using something like SKU Fetch, then you can easily do a variation, and it's really not that much more challenging to add the variation into it. One thing that I think also does improve upon your sales is having a high quantity available, because if you say that you only have 2 items available, the most that somebody can ever buy from you is 2. But if you say you have 10, then the most somebody can buy from you is 10. So you have more chances across the board. If you have 600 items, you have more chances that somebody's going to buy 5 or 6 or maybe even 10 items from you in one order than if you had lower items available. So that's one little trick to the trade that's happened over time. They're using the multiple locations, which I think is a good idea. They have free standard shipping. If you're to look at this item, it says delivers March 31st. Today's March 20th. So yeah, that does make sense for this listing. I was going to say they could possibly look into making their shipping and handling time more competitive, but that is that's definitely a good one. And they're drop shipping from Walmart. One thing to improve upon this listing is the return policy. It's 30-day return, buyer pays for return shipping. Walmart gives you a free return label no matter what. So I wouldn't make the buyer or say buyer pays for return shipping, because you're going to get more SEO boost if you say in the return policy that, it's actually free returns, because Walmart's going to give you free returns anyways. So why not just say free returns, because that's what eBay really wants. They want it to be like you're returning to a retail store, even though, retail stores, you don't have to ship to them. Again, they put in a decent amount for the actual item specifics. I do think they could have put a little bit more in, whether it's like their own item specifics or just making up, some new ones, whether it's from the listing or making up new ones. You can always add in more item specifics. So any of this stuff right here could be added to the item specifics. You click right here. You could have added any of this. I believe all of this is in there. Features, tufted, is there anything like that? Yeah, so they don't have that. They could have added in a few more item specifics, which would have made this listing even better in my opinion. But it is a great listing to begin with. They're clearly using the same software as the last person, but I'm assuming they're going the non-API route, which I believe this might be AutoDS. they're listing through the file exchange. Oh yeah, it says right here, AutoDS right here. If only I was to read. So my guess was correct, but they're doing AutoDS non-API version. I have no problem with that software. Again, I just don't like using Walmart or Amazon or Home Depot or any of the name brand main suppliers that everybody really does, because I like to move elsewhere. And again, that's how you're going to do it. So AutoDS non-API, not bad, just doesn't have as many suppliers as SKU Grid. So they did well. I like this listing. They're doing well with it. So this is the creme de la creme of a very, very, very good store. And as you can see, I'm sure you guys have seen this person. I've talked about them on YouTube videos before. And even though I've talked about them on, I think 2 to 3 YouTube videos, their sales have not been affected one bit. The items that I've shown on videos, literally made entire videos about this one item right here, it's still selling 169 times a month. So they're doing very well. They have 441 active listings. Successful is 166. Again, you could probably end up taking off some of those active listings and having a better sell-through rate. But again, they're still doing very well. But they're doing $75,000 in sales in 30 days with this many listings. That's well above the 100 listings equals 10,000 in sales. They're doing something right. And if you look right here, you know, clearly they did something right, and they did it a while ago. This item was uploaded to eBay in 2018. This item was in 2018 as well. 2018. You know, there's a lot of 2018, but they're still listing in 2020. This one was listed about maybe almost 3 weeks ago. So not only are they making great listings, they're keeping those ones running, and they're also making more great listings. So that's one thing about eBay dropshipping, is that things are always changing, but you want to stay up with the times. You know, obviously if people say, oh, well, it's too hard to make listing. If you were to make one good listing like this listing right here, which I have brought up, and you were to think or know, if somebody was to tell you that this listing would sell 1,471 times, like 2 years, less than like in a year and a half, and make you thousands of dollars as one listing, would you take the time and the effort to put it in and make a good listing right off the bat? Yes, you would. If you knew. You pretty much know. You know that this item's very good. Why not copy their title? Why not copy their end? Why not copy what they're doing and then just make it a little bit of your own? So first off, they have a great title. It's keyword rich. They have no titles, no brand names in there, no extra words, no slashes, no dashes, no ands, no ors, no anything like that. It's a great title. They have this one's a variation listing. The variation listings kill it. They have 9 available, which I'm assuming was 10 available and somebody just bought today or something like that. You know, they're doing very well with that as well. They have a lot that people could buy. They have fast and free shipping on their listing. Again, people are going to see that and be like, wow, I'm going to get it extremely quickly. I want to buy this item. They do also have buyer pays returns. I think this item could do a little bit better if you just did seller pays returns, because returns from Walmart are free either way. And again, if we were to go all the way back, this is the first picture that they have on their store. They have an image that they made. They made this image. This is not from Walmart. They took each and every single one. They took this one, they took this one, they took this one, and they took this one. Well, they didn't take there was one of them they didn't take. But they took them, they edited it together on this listing, and they made it look like this. That way, and then they branded it themselves too. So nobody's gonna steal it because it has your literal eBay seller name, their literal eBay seller name in the image. Nobody's gonna steal it unless they're idiots. And you know, then they have their own unique image. That's one thing that I've seen time and time again that people are doing out there that is really diversifying them from the group. Not only is it a variation, you get to see that, oh, there's this color, there's this color, there's this color, and you can tell that it's not photoshopped properly or 100% the best, but it still works, and it's a good listing, and I really do like it. And they don't have to have perfect positive feedback. They have 98.2, sorry. You know, but it's still good and it still works. So I've seen people kind of copying this recently. You know, this person definitely copied it. I believe this is actually a different person. Yeah, this could be a student or something. But at that point, you know, and then look, they have item specifics galore. They have all sorts of things for their item specifics. And this doesn't really make sense, you know, for a room. I'm going to put in the patio, in the hallway. They just kind of keyword spam there, but that's like a tasteful version of it. I don't understand why it's in the adults department. That's also kind of weird, but you know, it is what it is. Their description doesn't even look that nice. This looks like it was made on Microsoft Paint way back in the day. I have no idea. It doesn't look that good, but again, it doesn't need to look that nice. It just needs to work. And what I think is going to work the most over everything else is not the description. It's going to be your item specifics, your title, your image, your shipping, your handling time, your return policy, and your price. So one thing I forgot to mention on the last person that had 550 items and they were selling about 29,000 in 30 days was their margins were around 20%, 15-20%. So they were doing good margins. They were doing very good margins. But I think that if you have your margins up that high, that on that bed set that they were selling, they had, I think it was maybe 15-17% margin. But when you have your margin up that high, yes, it is great to be making margins like that, but you have to realize if you have margins that high, are you missing out on sales if you were to, even though it's a great listing, it's variation, it's getting all this traffic to it, are you missing out on sales because of the fact that it is not a little bit lower in price? So that's what I think this person did properly, is if you take 47.5, multiply it by 0.8. No, I didn't do that properly. Multiply it by 0.88. $41.80. And what color is this one? Let me pick the. All right, walnut. Where's walnut? Right here. There we go. It's $36.88. minus 36.88 equals divided by 47.50, 47.5. They're making about 10% flat margin on this. And this is where I think is what separates the people that are killing it from the people that are doing very well but are kind of just missing something. And it's some people get so just greedy with their margins, like I don't accept anything less than 15%. I'm not going to accept anything less than 20%. And that's going to make you miss out on sales. Not only is this person very price competitive, but they also have a very great listing to tie everything together. So you can have the best listing in the world, but if your price isn't within the ballpark, I can guarantee you there's people selling it less than this person on eBay. But again, they are in the ballpark. They aren't, looking for the 15, 20%, even though some of their listings might be that high. They might not be looking for that much. If they have the Walmart cash back, any portal or whatever that's giving you 2, 3, 4, maybe sometimes even up to 10%, and then also a 2% cashback credit card, you're making more than enough money on this item, and it's selling a ton of times a month. This item sold 64 times in this month. That's $640. So if this item was to sell at 10% margin, it was 500 something. It was $5, I think, that this thing was making every single time. This item's made over $5,000 profit if it sold 1,470 whatever times. This item is making $5,000 in profit. It's a great item. If somebody was to tell you that, also they're doing the bulk value savings right here. If you buy 3, if you buy 2, whatever, then you'll get more. That's going to, that was somebody else, wasn't it? Okay, this is somebody else listening. That's another good thing you could be putting on there. They've sold this item a ton of times as well, too. So that is about it for this video. Not to make it too long-winded. Again, once you start getting an item that sells a ton, when somebody sees that this item sold 1,471 times, they're more likely to buy that because it has social proof and everything like that. So that's another great thing about it. The more watchers, the more sales, the more sales in general. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you like this type of video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know, because I like this format of video. It's very, it's fun for me to make, and I enjoy it. So, hopefully this video helped you. If you got anything out of this video, let me know what you got out of it or what you learned. Thank you. Hopefully you follow these techniques, and I'll see you in the next video.